coated with copper. And he checkmated Gog and Magog, who were committing oppression, fasad. And he said, when Allah ordains, He's going to bring down this barrier, which is in Akhirul Zaman. And when they are released, Gog and Magog are going to go to Jerusalem. And on their way to Jerusalem, they will pass by the Sea of Galilee. And they start to drink the water. And by the time the last of them pass, they will say, why are you afraid to say it? They will say, there used to be water here in the Sea of Galilee. The water level in the Sea of Galilee has gone down so low now that the little island just appeared last week, I think. The water level is going down. Gog and Magog therefore has to be coming from the north. If they're going to pass the Sea of Galilee on their way to Jerusalem, they're coming from the north. Are you following? This is geography. If you're going to pass by the Sea of Galilee on your way to Jerusalem, you're coming from the north. If you're coming from the north, look to the west where there is water. Only two bodies of water. One is the Mediterranean Sea, and the other is the Black Sea. Water level, the water in the Mediterranean Sea is so good you can see a couple meters below. But why is it called the Black Sea? Because that's what it is. It's a sea covered with algae, and you cannot see more than about 1 meter. That's why they call it the Black Sea. And the Quran is referring to the Black Sea. That when Zulkarnain traveled in the direction of the setting of the sun, west, he came to the Black Sea. And when he traveled in the direction of the rising of the sun, end of the land, he came to the Caspian Sea. And when he went on the third journey north, he came across the Caucasus Mountains. And in between the Caucasus Mountains, there was a pass called the Darial Gorge, and that is where he built the barrier made of steel, made of iron and coated with copper. And he said, when Allah ordains it, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ رَبِّ جَعَلَهُ دَكَّةً, Allah is going to bring it down. Okay? When will it be brought down? Nabi Muhammad ﷺ is asleep at the home of his wife Zainab, and he sees something in his sleep. It's a vision. It's terrible. He wakes up with his face flushed red. And he said, Wailul lil Arab, woe unto the Arabs, min sharrin qad iktaraba, because of a great evil which is now approaching. Then he raised his hands and put his finger like this. He said, today a hole has been made in the barrier. And so the release of Gog and Magog is now commencing. Commencing. She asked, أَنُخْلَقُ وَفِينَا الصَّالِحُونَ, will we Arabs be destroyed even though there are righteous amongst us? He said, Na'am, the Arabs are going to be destroyed even though there are righteous amongst them. So this is not destruction for punishment. No, destruction for another reason. That's why Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam had the vision. He's going to sacrifice his son Ismail alayhi salam. The Arabs are the children of Ismail alayhi salam. That's the sacrifice. He said, the Arabs are going to destroy when إِذَا كَثُرَ الْخَبَثِ, When rubbish prevails, the destruction of the Arabs will come. Amongst the rubbish in the world today, the one that smells the worst is paper money. Oh yeah. It is the instrument of exploitation, the instrument of enslavement of the people. And the Islamic Republic of the Islamic Republic of Iran, which proudly proclaims itself an Islamic Republic. 37 years have passed, and they still have the bogus, fraudulent, utterly haram Iranian rial. I went to Iran so many times, talked to them, can't get them to change. Finally, I met with one of the advisors of the Ayatollah Khamenei, Hassan Rahimpur. I went to meet with him in Mashhad, and I had to ask him a direct question to get an answer. I asked him, is it unjust? Is it exploitative? Is it oppressive, the monetary system? He said yes. I said, can I quote you? He said yes. For the first time, eh? Then I went to Shiraz. You know the famous poet Hafiz in Shiraz? And in Shiraz I met Ayatollah bin Azadi. And I asked Ayatollah, I said, Ayatollah, that's what Rahimpur said, that it is unjust, it is exploitative, it is oppressive. What do you say? He looked at me, he smiled. He said, this is the root of all evil in Iran. The monetary system. Huh? This rubbish, when it prevails, the Arabs are going to be destroyed. Gog and Magog will destroy them. That destruction of the Arabs is coming. This is why I have said, if the Khilafah state is to be restored, the non-Arabs will have to do it. Sorry, he's in charge, not me. Answer her?
Yes.
What's the question?
What is this who implement individually every person? We have our sources. How use the sources for Akhirah and Dunya?
I think I mentioned that the term Karnain, can either mean two horns or two ages. Did I not? I did?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Good. And I said that we cannot use the name Karnain to mean two horns. Why? Because Allah has never used the word Karn in the Quran to mean horn. And over 12 times in the Quran, He uses the word Karn to mean age or epoch. And therefore I concluded that Zulqarnain implies power which will impact on the historical process, resting on the foundations of faith on two occasions. The first is the one which is described in Surah Al-Kahf, and the second is the one which is to come. If the first one came when Zulqarnain had to build a barrier in order to save the world from Gog and Magog, it follows that the second one will come when Zulqarnain will have to do the same thing, to checkmate Gog and Magog. I gave you my opinion, and I warned you not to accept my opinion unless you're convinced that I'm correct. But no one should be so arrogant as to say, I do not have the right to offer my opinion. And my opinion is that the second one of the two Qarnains is about to occur. And I have said it will occur in the same region. When Russia took control of Crimea 2 years ago, I said it's time for Imran to celebrate. It's time for Imran to celebrate when Russia took back Crimea, okay? Because I knew that what is in Surah Al-Kahf is about to take place, yeah.
Do we have one more question there? We have one other written one.
You have two questions.
I have two questions. I will ask one by one.
One by one.
The first one on the subject of flourishes of Jerusalem and dissolution of Medina. My question is, has the flourishes of Jerusalem has already happened or going to happen? I will ask another question.
The question is, in connection with the hadith of the Sunan of Abi Dawood, in which Nabi Muhammad ﷺ prophesied events. One was the state of Jerusalem is flourishing, built up, and the second of Medina is kharab, and the third would be the Malhama, or the Great War. The answer is Jerusalem is already in a commanding position in the world today. Jerusalem controls the US Congress, and the United States is the ruling state in the world today. The Israeli Prime Minister stood up and said it publicly. We control the US Congress. So what more do you want? This means that Jerusalem is already in a commanding position in the world stage. As for Medina being in forlorn desolation, everybody can see that. Yes, this has already occurred. Next question.
So, as you said, now the Malhama is around the corner. Does the World War II?
The third event, in my opinion, is about to occur, and that is the Malhama, or the Great War. And I am not the only one. Oh no. There are analysts around the world, many analysts around the world, who are all saying the same thing, that world war is around the corner. The only people who seem to be, excuse me, please excuse me, because my bitterness inside of me is too great now. My frustration is too much now. The only people who seem to be content with eating biryani and going home and sleep are the scholars of Islam.
Just before your question, we have one that was submitted in writing. Perhaps your audience.
The question is that Al-Haq has both macro and micro dimensions. This has to be recognized. But the Zionists also know this. And they dismantle and kill any leader. How can we ensure that our leaders are sincere to the Quran? Simple. When Imam al-Mahdi emerges in Mecca and declares himself to be Imam al-Mahdi, Nabi Muhammad ﷺ said that the Abdal from Syria and Iraq will come to give him bay'ah. Who are the Abdal? The Sufis have hijacked the term. Too bad to say it. They have hijacked the word Abdal and given to it another meaning. The Abdal are people who wage the struggle on the battlefield. And as soon as one dies, another one takes his place. And this one dies, another one takes his place. And this one dies, another one takes his place. And there is an endless line of people waiting to come and take the place. These are the Abdal. Over there, they fight to get a US green card. And they don't want to die because then they lose their green card. The US Armed Forces have to go fishing for people to buy them, to put them to fight. And on our side, when one falls, another one takes his place. These are the Abdal. And when you have a leader in Akhir Zaman who stands up to proclaim the truth, he will say to them, you can kill a man, but you cannot kill the truth. And when you speak like that, and you inspire the people, then every time they kill one, 1,000 will come to take his place.
Thank you. We have one more question, and then perhaps we have the last one over here.
What's next, Sheikh? Assalamu alaikum.
This face is familiar.
Yes.
Yes.
We met at Alamin.
That's right.
Maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So, what is next prior the advent of Imam Mahdi? We know it's godless,
Yeah.
and we also recognize the powers that is with us in Malaysia and many parts of the world are all towards Washington and the United Nations. So, in between the advent of Imam Mahdi and now, what's next for us?
I'm
And we
happy.
recognize it's all.
Yes. I'm happy that you asked this question. It gives me a chance to expand. When the Malhama takes place, the result of the Malhama would be that Russia will emerge with an upper hand. Russia will emerge with an upper hand. Why? Because the event which is to follow the Malhama is the conquest of Constantinople. The conquest of Constantinople has one and only one military significance, which is also political. And that is that Constantinople stands on the bank of the Bosphorus. The Bosphorus is the waterway which links the Black Sea with the Mediterranean Sea. And in the Black Sea there is only one power, only one, which can use the Bosphorus to project power, and that's Russia. Only Russia. Nobody else but Russia. If the conquest of Constantinople takes place after the Bosphorus, the one and only implication is that NATO is going to lose control of Constantinople. NATO cannot lose control of Constantinople unless and until there is civil war in Turkey. That civil war, when it does take place, must attract the forces of Islam around the world. All those who are in opposition to the oppressor, and everybody knows who's the oppressor. All the forces in the world of Islam that are in opposition to oppression and to the oppressor must join that battle as soon as the Great War takes place. That is the starting point. To make your way by whatever means you can to join the battle to liberate Constantinople. The Prophet said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wasallam, listen to his words. لَتَفْتَحَنَّ الْقُنْسْتَنْتِنِيَّةِ, you will most certainly conquer Constantinople. وَلَنِعْمَ الْأَمِيرُ آمِرُهَا وَلَنِعْمَ الْجَيْشُ ذَلِكَ الْجَيْشُ. He praised the commander and he praised the army which will conquer Constantinople. So my first comment is that civil war has to take place in Turkey, with one side opposed to NATO and that side attracting the support of all the Muslims. The false flag coup that just occurred in Turkey recently was meant to consolidate NATO's position in Turkey. Consolidate NATO to make Turkey a more reliable partner in the war against Russia. When the civil war is to take place, we cannot conquer Constantinople unless it's on the basis of a Muslim-Christian alliance. Allah says in Surah Al-Anfal, which is the surah of military alliances and international affairs, He says, بَعْدَ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ الْكَافِرُونَ بَعْدُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. That the kuffar make alliances amongst themselves. إِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا. If you Muslims do not do the same, look to see with whom you can make an alliance. إِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. If you do not make alliances with like-minded people, there will be fitna and great fasad in the world. Okay? With whom can we make an alliance? With the Christians who are closest in love and affection for us. That's the answer. And the Russians, the Orthodox Christians of Russia and the Eastern Christian world are our natural allies. So I see two things. I see civil war in Turkey, with Muslims around the world defying their governments and marching to Constantinople to join our army. And number two, I see a military alliance with Orthodox Christianity, therefore with Russia, which will lead to the conquest of Constantinople.
We have one more question over here.
Right, sir.
I want to ask that we have heard on the TV channels and all these newspapers and everything, a prophecy regarding Ghazwa Hind. I understand that the hadith is zaif, it's not mustanid. So is there something like this, that the war is to be fought between Pakistan and India, which is what everybody is talking about right now? And what's the truth behind it?
I regret I can't comment. I would like to comment on this subject on another occasion in order not to divert attention from our special topic for today. Yeah? So I will not speak on this topic today. No. Sorry.
I think that if we don't have... Oh, we have one. So this will be our last question.
What's happened in the world? If the third shadow is going to control, what's happened to the money?
If what?
The third shadow, I mean the Israel.
If Israel is going to control, what's going to happen to our money? Okay. What will happen to the world of money when Israel takes control? That's the question. I just delivered 3 lectures on money. You'll find them on my YouTube channel. They were delivered at a Sorao here in KL. The first was entitled, What is Money in the Quran and Sunnah? The second, What is Money in the World Today? And the third was Beyond the Petrodollar. What is the Islamic response to the bogus monetary system? All 3 lectures were just delivered recently, and please listen to them. What we have is a balloon which is deliberately being filled with more and more money, invisible, intangible money, in order that it will one day burst. They want the system to collapse. They want the system to collapse. They don't know when it will collapse. but the balloon will have to burst. When the balloon is not expanding fast enough, they pump into it something called, what is it called? What? Quantitative easing, QE. Where do they get these terms from? I don't know. Arab money, fiat money, calling their children kids. I don't know where they get these terms from. QE, that is that the President of the United States of America sends a letter to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve then issues a check for $7 trillion to the banking system. In order that the banks don't collapse, they tell monstrous lies. The purpose is to expand the balloon so that one day the balloon will collapse, will burst. When the balloon bursts and the US dollar collapses, no money can survive. None, 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 none. Because the entire system is built on the US dollar. Brexit occurred to tell Europe that the euro also will not survive. That's the message of Brexit. So the Malaysian ringgit will, goodbye to the Malaysian ringgit. And the Pakistanis will joyfully say goodbye to that piece of paper called the Pakistani rupee, which is the instrument of their poverty. And then after the paper money goes, which is the money? It's going to be electronic or digital money. In my last lecture, I said, I didn't know. In a post-nuclear world, how can you have electronic money? Because nothing electronic will work. Then someone came to visit me from Saudi Arabia, and he explained to me, he said, Sheikh, let me explain to you. He says the internet is based not only on what do you call it, the wireless internet, but also cable internet. And he said cable internet will survive the nuclear war. And with the cable internet, the banking system can survive. And so invisible, intangible, digital money will replace paper money. And there'll be only one currency in the world. Only one. So goodbye to the money changer. One currency in the world, and it's going to be invisible, intangible. You can't see it. It has no intrinsic value at all. It is created out of nothing. You just type it in and type it out. I have to restrain my language because I'm burning inside with fire. Allah uses the term in the Quran, donkeys. He said they have the Torah and they don't live in accordance to the Torah. They're just like donkeys with a load of books in their backs. Another word for donkey is an ass. In the Caribbean, from where I come, we call it a jackass. Same word. So when this invisible, intangible, digital money comes for all of mankind using one money, the jackasses in the world of Islam will give their fatwa that even this is halal. Tell me what else is there for us to do. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَهُ أَسْفَلَ السَّافِلِينَ. When will you go and ask your scholars? Go and ask them. Pick up the phone and call them. Ask them, is this money that we are using today halal? We don't find it in the Quran, we don't find it in the Sunnah. Where did it come from? If it's halal, tell us so. If it's haram, tell us so. And this is not a private conversation, we want to quote you. And tell us what's going to be our position when the invisible money comes, the digital money. One currency for all of mankind. But Israel cannot claim to be holy Israel. Khilafah state, Khilafah state, using bogus money. Nobody, no Jew will accept Dajjal as the Messiah. And so Israel will have to return to dinar and dirham. Yes. And a dinar and dirham monetary system will have to come back to the world. And I pray that I'm not alive. I beg Allah to take me away, take me away, take me away. I don't want to live to see that day of shame and disgrace. That they bring back the dinar and dirham while we are content to eat biryani and go home and sleep.
Yeah, no more questions.
Last question.
Coming back to this monetary system, like we are living in this world and you're born in the paper money. So what can we do? We are buying things with paper money. Everybody is buying with ringgit and dollars and everything.
I'm glad you asked the question. Number one, the first step is Allah did not send down the Quran to donkeys. Allah says that He sent down this Quran لِقَوْمِ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. He sent down this Quran to a people who think. So stop whatever you're doing and use the intellect that Allah gave to you. And make an effort to study using the Quran. I've delivered the lectures, I've done all the homework for you. So you yourself can come to the conclusion that this is bogus, it's fraudulent, it's haram, it is a vehicle of exploitation and oppression and enslavement. That's the first step. You can't move anywhere without that first step. When you come to that conclusion, the second step is to go to the scholars and get from the scholars their response and publish it. Because they're scared. They are stuck in the system. They don't know what to do. They can't say I'm wrong, but they also cannot say I'm right. That's not a scholar.
How do you survive it?
No, we haven't come to that as yet. We're going step by step, step by step. If you cannot get the scholars of Islam to wake up, your job is going to be impossibly difficult. When you can get some scholars of Islam to wake up, prominent scholars, you then go to the next stage. The next stage is to launch a movement, which is peaceful movement. A movement to mobilize the people. That we want the Quran and the Sunnah to prevail. We want the money which is in the Quran and Sunnah, dinar and dirham, to be made legal tender. We're not saying to take the Pakistani rupee out of the market. No, we're not that stupid. We are saying make dinar and dirham legal tender alongside the rupee, so that those who want to use dinar and dirham can do it. Okay? The reason why the enemy does not want that is because once you have gold as money, their system will collapse. When you are launching that movement to bring dinar and dirham as legal tender, the word will reach Moscow. The word will reach Beijing. And if Russia and China decide to make their money redeemable in gold, the whole system will collapse. That's it. So don't think about yourself alone first. Think big. Think about the system. The micro response, of course, is you don't have much time left. You should already have had some dirhams in your pocket. At least maybe 100, 200 dirhams in your pocket. And you should have a few dinars in your pocket. If you do not have it as yet, go and do it quickly. A dirham is selling now for about maybe 16 ringgits for a dirham. So 100 dirhams is only 1600 ringgits. Go and get 100 dirhams. Keep it at home. A dinar is selling now for maybe about 800 ringgits, okay? Get a few dinars and keep them, because once the paper money collapses, You are at their mercy with that electronic monetary system. You cannot take your money out of the bank. No. In fact, it's not banks. I don't think the banks will control money anymore. I think it's central banks that are going to take over from banks. And central banks are going to control all the money. Every account will be in the central bank, and they will control the central banks of the world. Okay? So that's a micro response. We had Eid al-Adha recently. I bought my animal, Qurbani, using dinar and dirham. Yeah. Because I said, if I buy it with bogus paper money, will Allah accept it? Huh? You can use your dinar and dirham to the extent that it's possible to use it, but at least keep dinar and dirham in storage for that rainy day.
I think we're getting close to the end of the session. So we'll have just one last question from here, because we already had one question here. So our brother here, last question, and then
That's one more question, then we finish, okay?
My name is Akhtar Qureshi, belong to the Pakistan. My question is, you are saying that all the money is bogus money and the paper money. Nowadays, we are using dinar and dirham. If we are using dinar and dirham, it is also paper money.
Oh, okay.
Dinar and dirham in the shape of paper or in the shape of...
Okay. I should have mentioned
Please.
that when the word dinar is used in the Quran, when Allah used the word dinar in the Quran, He is referring to a gold coin,
Yeah.
not a paper dinar. Huh? And when He used the word dirham in the Quran, He's referring to a silver coin. Yeah.